Hey, history buffs! Tonight we're diving into the wild world of Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's a country that's been caught in more crossfires than a pigeon at a tennis match. Seriously, this place has seen it all. Empires rising and falling, religions clashing, and enough political drama to make House of Cards look like a children's puppet show. So buckle up folks, because we're about to embark on a historical roller coaster ride through the heart of the Balkans. Think of it as Game of Thrones, but with fewer dragons and more savapi. That's delicious grilled meat, by the way, you're welcome. Bosnia and Herzegovina, or as the cool kids call it, BIH, is smack dab in the middle of southeastern Europe. It's like that awkward middle child stuck between its older, more popular siblings, Croatia, Serbia, and Montenegro. But hey, someone's gotta be the middle child, right? And let me tell you, BIH's history is anything but boring. From ancient tribes to modern-day struggles, this little nation has a story to tell. And trust me, you're gonna want to hear it. Let's rewind the clock a couple of millennia, shall we? Back then, Bosnia was like the cool kid on the block, attracting all sorts of characters. First up, we've got the Illyrians, a group of fierce warriors who called this place home. These guys were tough, think Vikings with a Mediterranean tan. Then came the Romans, marching in with their togas and their love of a good aqueduct. They conquered the Illyrians, but let's be real, the Romans conquered everything. They even tried to conquer decent pizza, but that's a story for another time. Under Roman rule, Bosnia became part of the province of Dalmatia. Not exactly a glamorous name, but hey, it's better than being called barbarian land, right? The Romans built roads, cities, and even a few bathhouses because nothing says we're civilized now like a good soak. But all good things must come to an end, and the Roman Empire eventually went the way of the dodo. Bosnia was left to fend for itself, which, as we'll soon see, became a bit of a recurring theme. After the Roman Empire said, "See you later," things got a little complicated. Different empires and kingdoms were like guests at a never-ending potluck, each bringing their own flavor to the region. But then, in the 12th century, Bosnia decided it was time to shine. Cue the trumpets. The Kingdom of Bosnia was born. This wasn't just any kingdom though. This was a kingdom with its own unique culture, language, and even its own church, the Bosnian Church. They were like the cool kids who didn't care about fitting in with the Catholic or Orthodox crowds. One of the big shots during this time was Ban Kulin, a ruler so beloved that Bosnians still say, "In Kulin Ban's time," when talking about the good old days. Think of him as the medieval version of a rock star. He kept things peaceful, made the kingdom prosperous, and even managed to avoid getting embroiled in too many wars. Now that's a leader after our own hearts. Unfortunately, all good things, even medieval kingdoms, must come to an end. And this time, the party crashers were a little more intense. They wore turbans, had a thing for coffee, and went by the name of the Ottoman Empire. Section 4. Ottoman Empire. When in Rome, do as the Ottomans do. The Ottomans, those guys knew how to make an entrance. They swept through the Balkans like a caffeine-fueled whirlwind, bringing with them a whole new set of rules and a love for Turkish delights. Seriously, those things are delicious. In 1463, after years of battles, the Ottomans conquered Bosnia, marking the beginning of a new era. Now let's not sugarcoat it, the Ottomans weren't exactly known for their gentle touch. They had a habit of, shall we say, encouraging people to convert to Islam. And by encouraging, I mean they sometimes offered the choice of conversion or, well, let's just say things didn't end well for the or option. But, and this is a big but, the Ottomans weren't all bad. They actually brought a certain stability to the region after centuries of squabbling. They also introduced new architectural styles, delicious cuisine, hello burek, and of course coffee. And let's be real, what would the world be without coffee? So, while the Ottoman conquest had its downsides, it also left an undeniable mark on Bosnia, shaping its culture, religion, and even its caffeine addiction. Section 5. Austro-Hungarian Empire, a whole new ballgame. Fast forward a few centuries and the Ottoman Empire was starting to look a little, well, less mighty and more crumbling empire. Enter the Austro-Hungarian Empire, a new kid on the block with a taste for waltzes and a thing for modernization. In 1908, they decided to add Bosnia to their collection, much to the dismay of, well, pretty much everyone in Bosnia. The Austro-Hungarians were all about progress. They built railways, schools, and even introduced things like electricity and running water. It was like they were playing Sim City, but with real people. But here's the thing, not everyone was thrilled with these changes. See, the Austro-Hungarians were kind of like that friend who insists on redecorating your apartment, even though you liked it the way it was. Tensions were brewing, and they weren't the kind you find in a coffee pot. Little did anyone know that these tensions would soon boil over and plunge the world into chaos. Section 6, 20th Century Roller Coaster Wars, Yugoslavia, and back again. Hold on to your hats, folks, because the 20th century was a wild ride for Bosnia. It all started with a bang, literally, with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo in 1914. You know, that whole spark that ignited World War I thing, yeah, that happened in Bosnia. Talk about bad timing. After the war, Bosnia became part of the newly formed Kingdom of Yugoslavia. It was supposed to be a land of the South Slavs, but it turned out that getting Serbs, Croats, Bosniaks, and a whole bunch of other groups to play nice was like herding cats. Then came World War II, and things went from bad to worse. Bosnia was occupied by the Axis powers, and the country became a battleground once again. It was a dark and brutal period, with atrocities committed on all sides. After the war, Yugoslavia was put back together, this time as a socialist republic under the iron fist of Josip Broz Tito. Tito was like the strict but fair teacher everyone was kinda scared of but secretly respected. He kept a lid on ethnic tensions, but at a price. But Tito couldn't live forever, though he tried, and after his death in 1980, Yugoslavia started to unravel faster than a cheap suit. Nationalism reared its ugly head, and old grudges resurfaced. Which leads us to Section 7, From Dayton to Tomorrow, Bosnia's next chapter. The 1990s were not a good time to be in Bosnia. Remember that whole herding cats analogy? Yeah, it exploded, literally. The country descended into a brutal civil war, marked by ethnic cleansing and horrific violence. It was a tragedy that shocked the world and left scars that are still healing today. After years of fighting, the Dayton Agreement brought an end to the war in 1995. It was a complicated agreement, kind of like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, but it stopped the fighting. Today, Bosnia is a country rebuilding itself, piece by piece. It's still grappling with the legacy of war and the challenges of a complex political system. It's like trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle where some pieces are missing and others just don't quite fit. But amidst the challenges, there's hope. Bosnia is a country of stunning natural beauty, resilient people, and a rich history. It's a place where East meets West, where ancient traditions coexist with modern aspirations. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, this little nation that's been through so much can finally find its footing and write a new chapter in its long and tumultuous story.